In this video, I'm going to share with you how the rank and rent business model has changed from the time that I started doing this back in 2016 to today in 2025. And we're going to talk more specifically from 2020 to 2025, but I also want to talk about from the very, very beginning because I've seen this thing completely change, completely evolve. And this is one of the reasons why I think you guys should be really careful about who you listen to online and make sure that you're talking to people who are currently in the game, that have actually built real rank and rent businesses, real website rental businesses. First of all, it's people that have never built it. How in the world can you train on it? That's a no-brainer. But people that are not in the game still, how can you possibly know the nuances of the business? Guys, every single facet of this business for the most part has changed, but there's some major updates that have really changed. And those are things I want to talk about. And also, I want you guys to start thinking about when you guys are looking at who to listen to online, what programs to buy, what advice to follow, okay? That said, guys, my name's Nick Wood. I've been doing this since 2016. Made quite a bit of money, depending on who you talk to and what the context is, but made quite a bit of money. And by doing this business model, not by selling a course, not by whatever. I do that stuff, and of course, it's great money. But I made my first couple $1,000,000 by actually building and renting simple websites. So back in 2020, was my first year hitting 7 figures. In July of 2020, we hit our first $100,000 month, and we have not looked back since. So I have a bit of experience when it comes to this. Okay, so let's talk about some of the major things that have changed. Number one thing that's changed, guys, is pretty obvious. You guys probably know about this if you have been in the game for any period of time, at least in the last, for about a year or so, is the GMB. First and foremost, it's changed names like 100 times. It used to be called the map pack, and then it was called the 3-pack, or maybe it was flipped, 3-pack, map pack, whatever, local. And then it was GMB, Google My Business. And now it's GBP, which is Google Business Profiles. And it's probably going to change again and again and again. Okay. So number one, it's change in name, but it's also changed in how hard it actually is to get into the map pack. And not only to rank in the map pack, but even to just get verified, to even just have your profile verified, because it used to be incredibly easy. It used to be incredibly easy. You could use any address. I remember back when I first started, the first training I ever took, they were training us like, go get a UPS box for this amount of money, and it costs $15 or $50 for 3 months, whatever. Go and have the postcard sent to that address. And guys, it worked. It was so stinking easy, and it worked. And I remember the first time I did it, I was like, oh, that actually worked. That's insane, right? And of course, now we look at it, we're like, well, we should have been doing GMBs all over the place, whatever, but it is what it is, okay? So GMB is a major thing that's changed. It's much harder to get verified. And also the way that it's changed in terms of how to get ranked has also changed. You know, the ability, the correlation between how you rank organically and how you rank in the maps has always been strong, but it's fluctuated in how much importance they've placed on it. How much the reviews actually matter has changed. All kinds of different things have changed with the Google, the GBP, the GMB, whatever you want to call it, okay? So what I want to say with that is it has changed. It has changed also because there's been a lot of people that have abused it, that have spammed it. And so there's a lot of things that have changed with the GBP, to the extent that I no longer focus on it. Personally, I no longer focus on it. Do I have GBPs? Yes. Do I still get them? Yes, if I can. But I don't spend all day, all night thinking of how am I going to get this ranked? How am I going to? I definitely don't pay people to do it. I'm very, very careful and white hat about how I do it. I don't do fake reviews. I don't do any of that stuff. We work with the business owner. We use them to try to get the GBP if we can. If we can't, we say, you know what? We're going to focus on something that we can control. One thing I don't love about the GMB is at all, even back then, was it was always easy to rank, which was exciting, right? Like sometimes you'd put up a GBP and within days or weeks, it was ranked and you're getting leads. You're like, this is the game. This is the game. There were people that had entire trainings on this business model, but they were like, forget about organic, just do GBP. Well, those businesses, those business models are trash now. Those businesses no longer work because it's impossible to get GMB. It's really, really difficult, okay? Anyway, needless to say, guys, with the GBP, I never liked it because it was like, it's easy come, easy go. I'd rank really quick sometimes, but also I'd wake up sometimes and look at my GBPs and I'd have 5 suspensions. I'd have 7 suspensions. I'd have 1 suspension. And it was like, just this ongoing thing. So for me, the way I view GBP is gravy, okay? That's a big thing that's changed. Another thing that's changed dramatically is the effort that it takes to rank. Okay. It's much different. Even right before I started, right when I started, I remember people were telling me that like a couple years before even I started in 2016, there were times when you could literally throw up a site with a couple of keywords and having an EMD, an exact match domain, where you have, the keyword and the city in the domain, and boom, just like that, you'd be ranked like that quick. It was easy. I think in the very beginning, it was even easier. And as the algorithm has changed, as it's gotten more competitive, this has also changed. So it's just interesting. The way to rank has become much different, and it has also become more difficult. But I will say, from when I started in 2016 to 2025 now, the 80/20 rule applies, and the main core things are still the same. Okay. Good content, solid, good backlinks from good sources, high trust, high citation flow backlinks, and age domain. Those are the core three things. Those have not really changed. All of the little stuff, does an exact match domain matter? Depends on who you talk to. Does the meta description matter? Depends on who you talk to. How much does the H1 matter? Depends on who you talk to, right? All those little things have changed, but the core 80/20 has not really changed. Okay. Another thing that's changed with the rank and rent business is the ads. Okay. When I first started in 2016 to 2020, I wasn't running ads. I didn't know you could run ads. I didn't think about running ads in terms of rank and rent. I'm like, it's ranking and renting. I didn't hear anything about ads, right? 2020, we started running ads. We started realizing, hey, I can pre-sell these websites. I can have somebody else pay for my website that I own. And we started running ads. And at the beginning, it was amazing, right? It was so easy. We would throw on an ad, we would set a budget, copy and paste, boom, 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 few keywords, Google Ads Express. Even before that, let me go back further than that. In 2019, 2018, you used to be able to go to Fiverr and buy AdWord coupons for $5. You could buy AdWord coupons for $5 that would give you $100 of free ads. So when I very, very, very first started testing this, guys, I was literally buying these coupons, and then they got more expensive. It was like $50 and you'd get like, $100 or whatever. But I was buying the heck out of these coupons and just copy and pasting these codes. And it was very, very cheap. They were really incentivizing you to run ads. Then that changed to, hey, we're not really going to give you much in terms of like AdWord coupons, but if you spend $300, we're going to give you another 100 or 150 for free. So it just kind of incentivized people that were more serious. Now this has changed to where running ads, you have to know what you're doing. It's no longer throw up an ad and then leads just start coming in. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know how to set up campaign. You got to know how to do negative keywords. You got to know how to build a keyword list. You got to know certain things, and it's become a little bit more difficult. That's the reality. Okay. So guys, these are some of the core changes that I've seen. Now, to touch really quick on the ads, one more thing I want to add, and in general, these things don't scare me. These things don't put me off. If anything, they make me a little bit more at ease. And why do I say that? This isn't me just trying to drink my own, Kool-Aid and that everything's perfect and that my life's amazing. But I know this inherently, that as things become more difficult in any area of life, that means less people are going to start doing it. It's going to attract less people. It's going to attract only the right people. And so if I now have to go and figure out a new strategy for ads to work as good as they were, or I have to figure out how to tweak them to make them work as good as they were, that means I'm going to eliminate a lot of my competition. There's a lot of people that are not going to come into the space. There's a lot of people that are going to go out of the space. And now it's just going to be us that are actually willing to solve problems. Okay. So we've got just a couple of things. We've got the GMB, we got the SEO piece, we got the ads. What else has changed? I'm really just trying to go from thinking from experience here. Another thing that's changed with this business, guys, is the business owners are a lot more aware of what we actually do. Okay. And some people look at that as a bad thing, like, oh man, it would have been great to do it back in 2015, 16 when no business owners had heard the pitch. Yeah, that you could argue that. Okay. I look at it the opposite. The fact that business owners have actually heard about this business model is actually a good thing, because now they understand that this is a viable way of doing business. I remember back in 2000, whenever I started back doing my first towing deal, 2016, they had never even heard of this concept. The guy that I gave the leads to was so confused. He almost thought it was fishy and kind of spammy. He's like, what do you mean you're going to give me free leads? You don't have a towing company. So why do you have a website? right? Now business owners understand that we as marketers build these websites, we generate leads, and we sell them and do deals with them. And so they're much less leery of the actual business model itself, okay? So guys, these are some of the major changes that I've seen in the rank and write business over the past 9, 10 years. The interesting thing is that some of those changes that you could say that used to be easy, that went to harder, happened as I was making more money, right? So like it used to be very easy to get GMB. As I started to make a lot of money in this business, GMB started to get tougher. So I'm not saying that there's this huge correlation or any kind of a correlation with the harder that it's gotten to do certain things, the less money that I made. Not at all, okay? It's just meant that I've had to tighten up. I've had to get focused. I've had to really sit down and be a problem solver, okay? But all this to say, guys, that this business model is going to change. It's going to continue to change. There's going to be things, if I do this video in a year, that are vastly different next year than they are this year. And that is why it's so important that you guys are listening to people that are in the game, okay? I'm somebody that's doing this. I'm always going to do this. I made this decision when I first started. I'm always going to have my agency. And a part of me was like, well, you shouldn't do your agency because then you can focus more on your program and give them the best. But you know what? The best thing I can do is I can stay current. I can figure out the nuances. I can be in the mud, in the dirt. And I'm now this year, 2025, I'm more in the dirt than I've ever been. We did a whiteboard session here with me and Francesca just 3 days ago. Or sorry, that's a lie. That was last week, Friday. So about 6 days ago. We're doing all kinds of scrappy hustling stuff. We landed a little smaller deal yesterday, just $300 a month, but we are doing it. We're making pitches. We are looking at new areas and new niche. We are in the mud, and that is why we're going to be able to bring you the most current and relevant information in this space in the rank and rent business. So guys, appreciate you watching this video. As always, if you want more information, we have a free training, rentsimplesites.com. Check out our community, rankandretire.com, and I will see you on the next video.